It sounds like in your description on the climate front, you see a real vacuum of leadership. Do you see that on some of these other issues that you have been quite active on?
Well, I think there's no leadership on keeping guns out of the hands of criminals, minors, and people with psychiatric problems, which this country should be ashamed that we're not doing. I think the Second Amendment gives you the right, and I'm happy it does, I suppose, that we have the right to bear arms. I used to have a rifle, a .22 caliber rifle. I got my rifle merit badge in the Boy Scouts. But to let people who are dangerous have weapons is just not an intelligent thing to do. And all we have to do is have sensible background checks. In fact, the federal law requires background checks for every gun sale from a gun store. It does not cover gun shows and internet sales because when the law was written, they didn't exist. Common sense says you just expand it to those other two categories. And in the 19 states that have done it at a statewide level, murders with guns are down dramatically. Suicides are down dramatically. It really does make a difference to just check and see before we let people buy guns. And when you poll the public, overwhelmingly, 80, 90%, including NRA members and gun owners, think we should not allow people who are minors, people that have criminal records, or people that have psychiatric problems to buy guns.
Yet it seems there was a conversation about all of those things you just listed in the wake of the Parkland school shooting.
Correct.
And that student movement. What happened to that? It seems like the momentum has slowed.
Well, we'll see whether in the next election cycle, what the students tried to do is to say to people, go out and vote based on this issue. We'll see whether that happens. I hope it does.
And one of your organizations, Everytown for Gun Safety, is focused very much on mobilizing those younger voters.
Absolutely. What we're focusing on is more at the state level. And we've got 18 states that have enacted gun background checks, a 19th state that has voted for it, but the governor, this is in Nevada, the governor has refused to enforce the law. But in those states, suicide rate with guns, for example, is half the national average. This really does make a difference. And so we're working at the state level. But I hope the fact that these young people came out and had their say, that people listen to them, and they don't want to have a risk when they go to school. Nor do you want to just be in the streets and have somebody shoot you.
But do you need to do something between now and November for that to actually matter at the ballot box when it comes to these congressional races?
I think all of us have a responsibility between now and then. Call your congressman, call your senator, and say, we want you to do something about this. I don't want to have my child at risk. I don't want to personally be at risk from crazy people who shouldn't have guns. Not trying to take guns away from anybody else, as long as they use them responsibly, and states write issues whether you can carry or not. Every state has a different view, and that's the way the law works. But we can't just sit here and hope that it's going to happen. We have to continue on the fight that the young people started after this event. And you're right.
Parkland.
After Parkland. And there have been a number of these cases where after this we say, that's enough, it's never going to happen again. And it does happen again. But someday, one time, it is going to stop. And I don't know if it's this time or the next time. God help us if it just keeps going on. We just got to stop the car.